Hello everybody, this is Kiyoshi here and welcome back to another episode of Kiyoshi's Aquarium. Today's topic, we'll be talking about water changes and why is it so important that you do water changes to your aquarium. So without further ado, let's get started. First of all, the reason we have to do water change because we're trying to mimic this miniature version of an ecosystem. We're having, fish in water. When we first put the fish in the water, the fish are clean. The water are clean. And then as time goes, there's debris, there's bacteria buildup, there's ammonia, there's waste. Fish, they poo, they eat. All those adds, just madness and dirtiness to the water. Therefore, it's very important that you clean your water. Of course, depending on if the tank has been cycled, how long the tank has been running, the size of your aquarium, the loads of your aquarium, meaning if it's fully stocked, overstocked, understocked, all those are factors to how often you should do water change. But regardless, water change is necessary to keep your fish healthy, to keep your plant healthy, and to keep the water safe or in mint condition, in another way of saying it. So for nano aquariums, like anywhere under 5 gallon, I would call it, I think when you first start up the aquarium, you should definitely do water changes on a daily basis, between 25 to 50%, depending on the species that you're having, depending on how many fish that you have in your tank. For betta fish in general, a lot of times that when we put betta fish in our aquarium, the aquariums probably are not fully cycled. A lot of time people are just so excited about betta fish and they just put into a brand new setup aquarium, and therefore it's very important that you do 50% water change for the first month, every single day. At least for the first week or first 2 weeks, you should definitely do water changes every day. Maybe first week you do 50% water change, and then starting the second week you can do 25% water change. And for the rest of that first month, if you put your fish in before the fish tank is being cycled, and if you already waited a month or 3 weeks to a month before adding the fish, that means your tank already has some levels of bacteria running in it. And if you have a planet tank, a cycle tank, therefore I think for the first week when you add the fish into your cycled aquarium, maybe not fully cycled but partially cycled aquarium, you should still do maybe about 20 to 25% water changes for the first week. And starting the second week, that's where you can, do your test kits, see how your water is doing. If the water parameters, everything is good, it's in ideal condition, you can do it once every other day, for 20% water changes. And then starting the third week, once again you do your test, if everything goes well, then you probably just need to do it once a week starting that point. And of course, if you have a fully cycled tank, meaning the tank has been running for months, and then you introduce new fish, for the first week I still recommend you do about 20% water changes on a daily basis, just so that a lot of times, especially if we're getting fish from like shipments, not like buying them from store and then carry it home from like mails. A lot of the time the fish are stressed when they first got introduced to your tank. They also need to be acclimated, not just with the water job, also temperature acclimation. When they get into your tank, the fish need to get used to this new environment. Therefore it takes them about 5 to 7 days to fully get used to the tank and feel comfortable in this new environment. Therefore it's very important that you keep the water as clean as possible by changing the water. In that way, when your fish are very weak and very vulnerable, they're very prone to disease, to breakouts, to a lot of problems, or even deaths. By having, clean water, better water, that will definitely help you in the long run. When you start something good, you start it the right way, therefore it will prolong the life of the fish, prolong your ecosystem and everything. Therefore, you really cannot be lazy at the beginning, and that is crucial for the health of your fish and also for the long longevity of your fish. So that's why we have to do water change. And for smaller aquariums, especially if you have 1 gallon or 2.5 gallon aquariums, I hope you're only keeping betta fish or crabs or some very small or mountain minnows, you know, those very tiny fish in those 2.5 gallon or less aquariums. A lot of times using a siphon, it's too much because of how small the aquariums are. Therefore, there's 2 methods of cleaning it. One is just use a cup, a tiny cup, like a betta fish cup that you find from the store, or just like a drinking cup, and you just tip the water, you know, and then maybe do 3 or 4 tips, and then add in that 3 or 4 tips of new water to it every single day, or based on whatever, you know, do your research based on your fish load, based on your water parameters. If it's perfect, of course you don't do that. You don't have to do that as often. I've seen people with, you know, very aged water or very fully cycled water. They do like 1 cup. They remove 1 cup worth of water every single week, just once a week. They remove it once a week and then add new waters. And also I've seen people just top it off whenever, you know, your water level gets lower. They just top it off with fresh water without do any cleaning or maintenance. I personally do not agree to that, but of course do your research. You know, the most important thing is run a test kit. Test your water parameters. If the water, everything is great, in great condition, I guess why not? You know, nothing hurts. But if your water has problem like ammonia, nitrite problems, then yeah, you definitely need to do water changes. And if your nitrite is high and you don't have live plants in it, then you definitely need to do, you know, frequent water changes. And also if your nitrate is high, then that is very dangerous to fish. They can die, you know, if you don't do water changes, you know, for a couple of days. So those are some of the key things that I want to share from my experience. Once again, if you have very small tanks, probably just get a cup, like a small cup, and tip it off. And if you have like 5 gallon plus, definitely using a siphon is recommended. It's a lot easier. You don't have to get your hands wet. You don't have to get messy. Just use a siphon, you know, just clean the water. There's mini versions of siphons, small, medium, and large, depending on the tank size. I'm sure you can find some that fits the needs of your fish tank. The last thing I want to mention it before I end this video, it's also coming from my experience, bad experience, scary experience, is if you don't have well water, or if you don't have, you know, if the area you're from, you know, you're using tap water that has chlorine, chlamine, those kind of chemicals in it, make sure you use dechlorination, those tap water safe conditioners, adding it to, you know, the fresh water that you try to put in before adding those water into your tank. That is crucial. Otherwise your fish will die. And the reason I want to make it a big deal, because even myself, from my experience, at least 2 times that I remember in my hobby lifespan, I forgot. I basically, you know, got a bucket of fresh water straight from the tap, and then, you know, I was maybe thinking something else, doing something else at the same time, or talking to people while I'm doing the water change. I absolutely forgot about getting the tap water conditioner, the dechlorine, you know, those conditioner. I forgot to dose those into the bucket, and then instead I just, you know, pull the fresh tap water with all those toxic stuff to fish into the aquarium. And then the first time when I did it, I realized it right away. You know, after I finished adding the water, I realized, oh, screwed, I forgot to do the conditioner. Therefore, I picked up the conditioner, and then what I did is I used the recommended dose for the entire fish tank. I had a 10 gallon aquarium, therefore I dosed 10 gallon worth of, you know, tap water conditioner into the thing. And luckily, I think it was quick enough. All my fish survived, because luckily I was only doing like a 15-20% water change at a time. So, you know, I guess the volume of tap water that was in it and the timing that was in it wasn't too bad. So I was very lucky. And the second time was just a few days ago. I'm not even joking. When I was doing this 3 gallon aquarium water change, and yeah, I was out of place. My mind was just somewhere else. I was thinking about something else. And then I forgot about adding the tap water conditioner. I also did about 20% water change, maybe less, maybe 15 to 20% water change on this particular tank. And then I just pulled the tap water straight into it. And I did not realize it until 30 minutes later. So tap water has been in this tank for 30 minutes. When I suddenly remembered, oh my God, I forgot to use the conditioner. I almost freaked out, like, you're not gonna believe it. And then because I have 1 betta and 9 schooling fish of pygmy corydoras. Betta fish, they might suffer from, ammonia burn, because of chlorine and all that. But at least, betta fish can breathe from the air. So the worst scenario, I'm not saying it's good, it's okay. I'm just saying that the least worry out of all of the living things in this aquarium is my betta fish. Also I can just scoop him out and then put him somewhere safe, to watch his behavior and all that. The corydoras are the one that I'm really freaked out about because they're tiny. These are miniature, the smallest corydoras in the world, pygmy cories. They're very sensitive to parameters, and they fully use their gills to breathe air and oxygen. And adding tap water, untreated tap water into the aquarium, that is deadly to these tiny fish who cannot tolerate all these chemicals. They might face ammonia burn, their gills might stop working, they can no longer, take oxygen or, get oxygen, etc. I was just so worried about them. I was thinking that all of them, it's gonna die. I know they're gonna die, because it's been 30 minutes. And of course, the moment I remember, I jump out and then start getting, first I added 3 gallon worth of water, those conditioners into this tank. And then I waited for maybe 5-10 minutes and see how everyone's doing. All the fish were acting normal. Surprisingly, they were still acting normal. However, they're a bit calm because my pygmy cories are usually very outgoing. They always search for food. They never stop searching for food. And then, so they were quite, settled and calm during that 10 minutes. They were just chilling on the rocks or on the leaves, not moving much. So I was pretty worried, to be honest. Maybe they were just tired or it was, middle of the night. But still, I was thinking very negative, like, oh, they're gonna die, they're not moving. Therefore, I waited a little bit and then I decided to do a 50% water change. It's dangerous when you have very small, tiny fish. The size are very tiny. You don't want to do like large number of water changes at once because parameters will change, especially in nano tanks, and they're just not going to be used to that. And a lot of times it's fatal to those fish when the fluctuation of the temperature of the water or parameters of water just change so much. But I have no choice. I want to get the tap water out and try to get new water in, new treated water in, so at least it helps on the ammonia burn, on ammonia spike, also helps on the plant. I have live plants, ammonia will kill them as well. So what I did is I did a 50% water change, and then I added treated water. I put the conditioner on that new bucket of water, and then I poured it in, and then I monitor for another 3 hours. Luckily, this is a few days later. Normally, if your fish are getting ammonia poison or tap water poison, usually they should not, they probably will die within an hour or two, or at least by the end of maybe a day, within a day. Luckily, this has been a couple days. Ooh. And all of them survived. My betta was doing well. All 9 corydoras lived. That was a relief. But yeah, that was a lesson I learned. I learned a long time ago, but that should never have been happened. But that happened. So I'm just sharing the story with you guys. I had a lucky ending, although my heart almost stopped beating when I realized I forgot to add treated tap water conditioners to the water. But my ending was lucky. But a lot of times it might not end that well, because tap waters, especially tap water with chemicals, depending on where you're from, some areas have very highly concentrated chlorine and chloramine in the water, and sometimes where you're from just have less. And then that's just fatal to your fish, especially if you have nano fish. or you have, you know, a nano aquarium, because the water is so little, for them to, you know, to you know, the proportion, the ratio of the danger versus, you know, the water volume. Anyways, hope this story is inspiring. Hope this story helps you in terms of if something similar happened to you, what you can do. And I hope this kind of thing do not happen to you and your fish. And if it did or it does, I hope your fish are doing well. I hope, you know, you are well as well. So yep, here is my story for this particular episode, and I hope you guys had fun and learned something new or whatever. Anyways, I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Bye bye.